Hey everyone, what do you get when you take a bit of paper, print some images on it, get some canvas from Dollarama, this cardboard canvas, cut out some pieces of plywood like this, make a frame, backing, pour some resin over it, put a cork backing to it. You can make some really cool coasters like this one here. These people really love these. They're colorful, it really catches the eye. A nice backing to it. Of course, we have our logo at the back. So we're going to show you how we do that in this video. It's just part of the process that you feel that you can use a little bit more detail. Let us know down in the comments and we'll probably make a new video on that. So, but let's get to it right now. We're going to do the overview and I think you're going to love how easy it is, because if I can do it, you can do it too. All right, let's get to it. All right, let's get started by jumping into Midjourney. Now, we use Midjourney to make our images. You don't have to use Midjourney. You can use any image you want, but we use Midjourney. And for those who don't know, Midjourney is just a text-to-image AI application that you can use. There's several others out there. We just happen to use Midjourney to get these images that you see here. Now, of course, we're going to have all the links down below of everything we use down in our description if you need to want to look into further. Now, so these are the images. Now we're in Canva. This is another application that we have, and we just use this to either change the lighting and colors. And of course, here you can see we put some frames around it, little black frames. And we also did a mirrored images, because a lot of times we use images that have text in it as well. So we want to make sure that they're mirrored. We didn't have to do it for these, but it's just we just keep consistent with our with our processes. So we did put it in there for this application, for these images as well. Now I'm just using the printer application, of course, resizing them to make sure that they're at the right size. I put them at about 102 millimeters, where we're actually cutting it down to the coasters will be actually 100 millimeters, but we make them a little bit larger, so it gives us a little bit of leeway when we're cutting it. And we're using the Epson ET2850 EcoTank, and we're using Hippo sublimation paper. So you have to use the special sublimation paper if you want to get pictures onto the canvas. So sublimation paper, and the ink in there is not your regular ink. It is a sublimation ink, also by Hippo. So we just wanted to make sure we use the same product or same company. And these are the images that came out. They look kind of washed out, but you'll see the difference once we put it in the heat press that we have here. This we just got off of Amazon. Nothing fancy. It just heats up the top plate, and then you can squish things in between. Now, we're going to be putting a laminate on that canvas first. So this is just laminate plastic that you can buy. Again, we bought this off Amazon. Nothing fancy. We're just cutting it down to approximate size, letting it overhang a little bit. We don't let it overhang too much so it sticks to the paper and everything. Use parchment paper on the bottom to just keep it clean. And then we put the canvas with the laminate on top. Of course, shiny part showing upwards or outwards. And we put another parchment paper there as well, just so that it doesn't, again, stick to the top or cause any kind of residue on the pads that are in that press. So we're going to press it down for 10 seconds at 365 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to take it out, and you're going to see that it's nice and shiny now. And it's, of course, hot, so watch your fingers. Even though it's only 10 seconds, it does get hot very quickly. And now we're going to be putting the images on that canvas with the laminate. Of course, you want to let the laminate cool down a little bit first before you do that. A lot of times we try to get canvas that's, the actual size of the sheet, so we could do 4 at a time, but we didn't have any at this point in time, so we're just using smaller ones. And you want to put the image downwards. Again, parchment paper and bottom and top. This time we're going to put it same temperature, 365, but for 50 seconds. And this is where the magic happens, people. We take that off and look at that color on that canvas. It just really pops. All that ink that was in the special paper, it just gets all transferred over to this canvas. Now, if we didn't use the laminate, it wouldn't be as shiny. It would actually look kind of washed out, similar to what you see on the paper. So having that laminate is a huge step in making sure that it gets really bright colors coming out. So again, watch, it's very hot. And we have our images on canvas. So now we're going to go to the shop. Now I'm turning on the laser because we have a laser, so we're going to use it. It just saves us a lot of time. We use Lightburn. Of course, it needs an update. Every time we start it up, there's always something that needs updating. And of course, there's a few switches to turn on and off over and let it zero in to get everything started. Now we're just using a small piece of wood here. This is a 1/4 inch. I think this one is a maple veneer to make our frames for the coasters. A lot of times we'll use a full sheet, like a 2 by 3 feet, a 2 feet by 3 feet sheet, and batch out a whole bunch of them at once. But I actually cleaned out the shop the other day, so I'm just trying to use up a lot of the scraps, especially for this video, to show how we make these. And so I had to do another piece just to get the 4th frame that we needed. Now I'm doing the background. The background of the coaster, I just use 1/8 birch plywood just as a backing. So we're just cutting 4 of those. Again, most times we'll do a whole batch, 2 foot by 3 feet, and cut out a whole bunch of them all at once. It saves a lot of time, but for the purpose of this video, we're just showing you how this looks now. There's the frame with the backing to give you an idea. Now our laser, we don't have a camera. You can't have a camera where you can just throw in the canvas with the image into the bed, and then you line up on the computer to make your cut. But seeing that we don't have a camera, we have to do a little engineering here. So we're just making a window in a piece of paper, and make sure you put magnets because you don't want that paper to move, and you don't want to touch any of the settings of the laser at this point. You want to make sure that everything was in its proper place. And then you just line up the image into that window. So and that's exactly where the laser will cut. So it makes the job a whole lot easier. It takes about 30 seconds to cut, or a little less actually. And so again, usually we'll batch out maybe 40 of these at once, and get them out really quickly. So here I'm just showing you then the kind of end result of what all the pieces coming together looks like, and it makes a nice little picture frame in essence. Take a little bit longer than it takes than required to show you how it works. So we're just going to cut out the other pieces, and then we'll get to the next stage, which is the glue up. So there's a few of them we cut out. Oh, I forgot, of course, the frames that I cut out, we have to stain, kind of going backwards here, but stain these ahead and ensure that the stain can have time to dry or cure before we start the glue ups. We use Titebond, but the best bottle I find for using to spread glue or squirt out glue is these French mustard bottles. They work really well at controlling how much glue comes out. And then of course I just spread it around with my finger. Once again, for doing a huge batch, a lot of times I'll just use a roller, a sponge roller, to get the glue all over the backings evenly. But for small batches, just using the finger works just fine as well. Now we go to the next step, which is mixing our resin. We use magic resin, and I'm just using a small amount here because we only have 4 coasters to make. So I'm using the little plastic measuring cups here, just eyeing it for 1-to-1 ratio. And the magic resin we've used for quite a few projects, and we really like it. It really comes out nice and crystal clear. It's hard to mess up as long as you follow the instructions. And for this one, you have to mix 1-to-1 for about 4 minutes, or at least 4 minutes, and then you're good to pour. And it's always recommended that you mix in one direction and not too quickly. Of course, this is sped up, so that's not the speed that I'm going, but you'll see once I start pouring it, maybe I did mix it a little bit too fast because there are a lot of air bubbles in it here, so you'll see that right now. So even though there's a lot of air bubbles, you don't have to worry about that. Again, with this resin, it seems like you can't really mess up. Once I spread it around, I use a silicone brush to spread the resin to all corners of the coasters. just to ensure that when you do the next coat that the resin will follow or cover the whole coaster and not have, because of surface tension, that it doesn't go to certain areas. This way it just flows to all the areas that the resin is currently covering. So you use the silicone brush, and that silicone brush, it's very easy to clean off once it's once it cures. It just breaks up and you just take all the dried or cured resin off of it really easily. It's a fun tool. Here I'm just using the torch to get the bubbles out. If you've never done epoxy before or resin before, it pops all the bubbles off. You can also use alcohol. We tend to always use the torch. You have to do a little bit of extra torching for these because of all the air bubbles. And this is the end result. It looks pretty awesome. I love how the colors really pop with, again, with the sublimation, with the laminate on that, and then with the epoxy. And this is just to show that we use cork. Of course, we get off of Amazon, and then we put our logo at the back using the laser once again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a quick overview of how to make these coasters, professional looking coasters. If you liked what you saw, please, just hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I appreciate it if you made it through this far. And again, if there's anything that you saw within this whole process of the video and you want more details, let us know down below, and we'll see about making new videos down the line. So hey, talk to you later.